Welcome back, folks, to the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show here on the Big Talker, 1250 WTMA and WTMA.com. I always like to take a moment and just say thank you to those of you that listen to this program and then rely on the information with it to help better understand the real estate market, to understand how agents operate, to understand the direction of the market, and really what you need to know to be successful in your next personal transaction. Now, we also talk about things like real estate investing, property management, creative financing, private money, all these different ways of creatively doing deals in real estate. And here's what I'd like to say in that regard. If you are one of those folks listening that would like to sell your home, but it just doesn't make sense because of the interest rate associated with the home that you're going to buy, let me just tell you that there are still opportunities to get interest rates at 3%, 4%, 5%. Sometimes I know an agent that's getting a deal done this week for like 2.65%. They're called assumable mortgages, right? There are all these different ways of getting you kind of what you want. You just need to talk to somebody that understands how these other alternatives to just the traditional, I'm going to buy a house, I'm going to go to a bank, I'm going to get a mortgage, and whatever interest rate they give me is what I get, right? There are other ways of doing this. Let's talk about that, and let's see if maybe we can create something for you that works. My number is 843-800-0065. That's 843-800-0065. And listingsincharleston.com is our website. That's listingsincharleston.com. I should also mention really quickly, depending upon your situation, we've got different tiers of I guess, commission that apply to your specific situation. So we've got a lower than usual commission, 2.4%, or 2% if you're over $1.5 million. But we can do things off market for you. We can not give you as much of the fluff or the red carpet treatment that we do at some higher commission rates based on what you want to accomplish. Just understand that you've got options, right? You have ways of saving money if that's important to you. You have the full white glove treatment if that's what you want. Most people pick something between. But don't just think that there's only one way to do this, which is I need to sell my home before I can buy a home. And the only way to do that is to find something I like. And then once I make that offer, list my home. And, so many people go through that and it just doesn't work for them. There are other ways of doing this, frankly, better ways of doing this. Let's talk about that. But, all right, so I want to talk about contractors. There was an article that came out based on a survey from JW Surety Bonds, and it shows some pretty interesting insight into some of the most common contractor scams and what a lot of people are experiencing and working with contractors. And it basically goes on to say that 1 in 10 people are getting scammed in some way, shape, or form by contractors. And let me tell you something. I have spent millions of dollars of my own money renovating, flipping property, just renovating my own home or homes. I know a thing or two about a thing or two when it comes to contractors and what to expect. And we have some great ones. We have a much longer list of people that we now no longer work with. And I think that's frankly one of the benefits in working with a really seasoned and very high transaction count real estate agent is that we know who to work with and who not to work with based on our own experiences. And I get to, I guess come to you guys with the unique perspective of, again, I've written the checks, right? I'm not just going off of Google reviews. I'm telling you based on our own experience what to watch out for and what we experienced when we worked with that particular company. So you got to take that for what it's worth, I suppose. But we've got kind of a unique position here in that we are truly educated in this space. So going back to this survey, it says that 34% of people experienced working with contractors that said they were doing quick, low-quality work without a contract. 23% said providing a low-cost estimate, then significantly increasing costs during the project. 22% experienced a contractor that demanded a down payment or billing for shoddy work. 21% said billing full price after substituting or removing materials or using leftover materials from the previous job. I had a contractor that tried to pull one of those on me. They tried to put in flooring that was different from what I selected and what we agreed to. And some of these contractors will say, well, it's already down. It's what do you want to do? I want you to put in the flooring that I paid for, that I said I wanted. Sorry, but inconvenience is not my problem right now. It's going to be yours. Anyways, 17% said that contractors used high-pressure sales tactics. 13% said they lied about getting permits. 11% manipulated people with change orders or schedules. 10% falsely represented employees, insurance, materials that were purchased. 7% for falsifying payment applications or invoices, and 7% for adding or changing contractors or subcontractors during the project and then charging a higher price. Now, what's interesting here, I guess not too all surprising, though, is that baby boomers were the first to fall victim to this at 15%, and then millennials at 13%. So here's some things to watch out for, because this study identified the following 5 items that alerted consumers to a possible scam. 63% of the time, the contractor failed to complete the job or did poor quality work and did not meet the agreed upon standards. 40% of the time, the contractor frequently arrived late or missed appointments or just didn't give a reason as to why they weren't there or didn't stay for a full day, which happens all the time. 26% of people said they added extra charges or fees that had not been previously discussed or agreed upon. 25% said that they refused to answer questions or were evasive about progress updates, probably because they didn't have any because they haven't been working that job. And then 13%, they provided no written contract or a really vague contract without job specifics or costs. And that, for me, frankly, is a huge pet peeve. Every contractor is going to have their own version of an agreement that you're going to sign. What I find, and what I have to ask almost every contractor to correct, is the way in which they write what it is they're going to do, right? So maybe it's like you're getting your master bathroom renovated, right? I've seen quotes that just say renovate master bathroom, and then it'll just be a number, $40,000, whatever the number is. Talk about a vague, ambiguous contract. What am I getting for materials? What sort of budget do I have for materials? Am I buying the materials? Are you buying the materials? Am I supplying it? Are you just installing it? Is someone else installing it? I have no idea what's going on based on a contract like that. That's the kind of stuff that you have to avoid, right? You have to make sure that people are licensed and insured. Do not be afraid to ask the contractor for proof of insurance. You need that security instrument. You need to understand that these people are a sound, reliable business, right? And that they're protected and you're protected. You got to get everything in writing. You have to review those contracts carefully. And, I'd say last but certainly not least, don't pay the full amount of the job up front. There are too many stories of contractors taking your payment, doing a little bit of work, doing work that's not up to your standards, and because they've already been paid, they're gone. And it's really hard to track them down, pin them down, get them to finish the job. More often than not, you're just going to have to take them to court. And if that's something you're prepared to do, great. If it's a smaller job, what I find most homeowners do is they're just like, well, I guess we'll just chalk that up as a learning experience. I guess I got screwed. Oh, well, I don't want that to happen to you. It happens too much. There are too many people out there that you're just not, I guess, being specific enough, picky enough, and you're not crossing your T's and dotting your I's enough. You're taking too many people at their word. That's okay. You can be friendly with them, but get it in writing. Make sure they're licensed and insured. Make sure that contract is spelled out exactly the way you expect it to be. And then have that contractor earn their pay over time for job well done in steps, in increments, right? Come up with those benchmarks in the agreement that say, all right, well, when we get to this point, here's how much I'm going to give you. When we get to this point, here's how much I'm going to give you. All right? Don't just pay it up front. It's too hard to track them down. And the average amount of money, by the way, that people lost in these scams was like $2,300, right? That's just the average. There are some other people that are losing a lot more. So protect yourself. One of the best ways to do that is to arm yourself with information. This is just an overview. I have an e-guide that I wrote. It's probably one of the longer, if not the longest one that I have. It's not too terribly long. I think it's less than 20 pages, but it's chocked full of information that you need if you're going to hire a contractor. How do you find them? How do you interview them? What is the agreement supposed to look like? How do you negotiate with them? How do you hold them accountable? What happens if things don't go according to plan? How do you address some of the issues that you might experience along the way with those contractors? All that good stuff is in the e-guide that I wrote called How to Hire a Contractor. Really super catchy title, right? Well, anyways, if you want a copy of it, all you have to do is text the word contractor to 843-800-0065. 843-800-0065. Text the word contractor, and I'll send you that e-guide. Now, of course, I'm going to reply. I'm going to need your email address as a way of sending that to you. Don't be surprised when I do. I need a way to get you the information. Or you can give me a call or text me, 843-800-0065, and we can just chat about what you're trying to accomplish, and I can give you some suggestions. Stick around for the last few minutes of the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show right here on the Big Talker 1250 WTMA.
Visit Brian Beatty's website at listingsincharleston.com. The Brian Beatty Real Estate Show continues next on the Big Talker 1250 WTMA.